Let's do it. What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Now, guys, I intended to do a follow-up to the video that I did that was entitled A Message for Black Girl Gamers and Their Critics to Consider. I was going to read some of your comments. You know, I've been doing that recently. I kind of like doing that. But and I got a lot of good feedback. I got a lot of great feedback from that video, man. And also I heard from some girl gamers, so that put a little bit more perspective on it. But I was going to read those comments, but as I went through them, it occurred to me that one theme kept popping up. Like everybody was saying the same thing in different forms. So I just want to go on and just address this without reading all the comments and stuff like that. A lot of you are wondering, why do they make it a point to call themselves black anything? Why do they have to identify themselves by race? I keep hearing that. Gamers are just gamers. You don't see specialty groups for Indian gamers. You don't see them for white women gamers or white girl gamers. Although that's actually not true. I looked into it. You can look into it yourself. Go on X, put in the search, and put, well, you're not going to see white girl gamers. What you're going to see are girl gamers. You will see Indian gamers, things like that. But they are identifying themselves by gender. So, you know, they are doing that. I just wanted to point that out, right? But anyway, the question on the floor still remains. Why do they have to identify themselves by race? And before I go any further, I just want to remind everybody, if you've been watching my videos, then you might have noticed or you might have heard me make the point that I truly believe that black people, for lack of a better term, black people will never know true liberation and self-actualization until they identify more as human than as black. This has been controversial when I've said this in the past. It has seen me out of many a family gathering. What do you mean? You do know you're black, right? Do I? You might have taught me this if you're my family and stuff like that. But as I get older, I am realizing that I am a human being, all right? I am very proud of my skin color, but to define myself as black in 2024 is problematic for me just because of all of the things that come with being black these days. It seems like the majority of it is not positive. You know what I mean? So this has always been my point. So I just wanted to make that clear, okay? So I agree. I think there's way too much emphasis put on the identity of black as a prefix before everything else. You have to be a black girl gamer. You have to be a black police officer. You have to be a black scientist, a black director, a black filmmaker. I agree with you. But thinking about this, and you guys know that I like to think, like right now, I'm thinking, why am I fuzzy here? You know, but I gotta let this rock, guys, because I'm cooking, man. I am cooking. All right. So anyway, I can't stop this now. Don't stop me. Don't hold me back. So I'm thinking. And I've come up with a couple of things, right? Neither one of them are necessarily good things, but they are very, very interesting because what I think that a lot of the general mainstream gamers they're taking it personally that these black girl gamers would make this distinction when they should just be gamers like everybody else. But there's a couple of reasons why, guys, and it doesn't have a whole hell of a lot to do with you. You shouldn't be taking it personally, and I'm going to break down my hypothesis why this might be, okay? You guys can get in the comment section and let me know what you think of this, right? But I put on my thinking cap, and my mom always used to tell me, Marky, the only person who can call me Marky, by the way, she would say, Marky, put on your thinking cap when I was a little kid, you know, when I had to do math homework and stuff. So when I saw this, you know, I had to pick this up because I love my mom. Anyway, my theories. I got two theories why there always has to be black this and black that in front of everything. First one. You guys know that I have been very candid. I've been very open about my experiences growing up and how I wanted to be a cartoonist. I wanted to draw. I love the work and the philosophy of Charles M. Schulz, of Charlie Brown, Peanuts, Snoopy fame. You know, I love that stuff. I loved Hanna-Barbera. Back then, I liked Disney animation, and I kind of wanted to do that, right? So I used to be drawing, and I love my comics as well. I love my sci-fi, all of that stuff. I mean, I really did, man. It helped me to escape a lot of stuff. But I've talked about this many times before. I was not encouraged. I wasn't encouraged. As a matter of fact, I was discouraged. I told you about it. You know, my pops, he ripped up all of my drawings. Practically nothing survived from back then. And every time I because people always ask me, why don't you draw now? You can always get back into it. Might sound sad, but every time I put pencil or pen to paper, I start flashing back. All right. I don't know. Maybe I should go talk to somebody, but I'm talking to you guys. Anyway, the point is that I've moved on to other things. All right. So anyway, the point is that I was discouraged, and I know that I wasn't alone, which is the reason why I talked about it. There are so many of us in the black community that get discouraged from doing things because, as I said in my other video, now I'm going to tie this all together. I said in my other video that the first nigga wake-up call that most creative, most caring, most expressive, most visionary and imaginative blacks get in life come from niggers, right? The ones in our own community that will tell us what you can't do. They're very quick to say that. You can't be a cartoonist. You can't be a singer. You can't be a gamer. You can't be a geek. You can't do all of this stuff. We all hear it. We've all got these stories. And I know because I've been doing these videos for a long time. So I always have people come in. And I have a lot of white guys and girls who come in and say the same thing. But if you guys think you have it bad being encouraged, you should see what it's like in the black community. Everything that you might want to do that goes outside of the box is called being white. In white communities, I imagine maybe they just call you weird or a freak or something like that. In the black community, they say you're trying to be white. If you're trying to do anything other than what is stereotypically black. And I can prove it, but I'll prove it in a minute. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. But so, growing up, for example, I got in with a lot of the comic book, geeks and stuff like that. When I was in junior high school, I had my little circle of friends. And I remember my pops used to say, you and your faggot friends. That's the way listen, my pops, I love him. If he ever sees this, please, Dad, don't take this the wrong way. I love you. I give you all types of respect because you kept us off the street because we were so afraid of you and that big ass belt. But I love you very much. I understand that you made mistakes. I'm not a perfect father either, no matter what that might say back there, number one, Dad. But anyway, we all make mistakes, right? I love my pops very, 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 very much. But yeah, but he did used to call me and my geek friends, we were all faggots. You know what I mean? And one of them, by the way, is you see him on a national news show every morning if you watch CBS. I'm not going to say his name, but he was my best friend in junior high school. And he was an Elvis freak. Talk about things that a black kid is not supposed to be. He was an Elvis freak, loved Elvis, and he used to crack me up so much. I know this is a little sidebar, because he always used to be like, he used to sing Elvis, and he used to really like get into it. You know what I mean? I've been so lonely, baby. I've been so lonely. I've been so lonely, I could die. I still remember that. That was my man, right? But anyway, so we get like really, really discouraged, right? So by the time we get out into the world, we truly believe that black kids or black people shouldn't be geeks. We shouldn't be gamers. We shouldn't be sci-fi fans. We shouldn't be cartoonists. We shouldn't be all of this stuff, right? So when you get out into the world, it's kind of like Professor X using Cerebro. He wants to see if there's any more out there. Are there any more like me? Am I alone in the world? Reminds me of the Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol. Who's old like me? I'm all alone in the world. And that's how you feel. You feel like you're actually a freak of nature. You shouldn't be. You're a black kid. You're supposed to 6'5". I was supposed to be playing ball, I was taller than all of the other kids in my class photo. I was always the tip of the pyramid, I was that dorky kid, always in the middle. So anyway, yeah. So when you get out into the world, right, and you're a black geek or you're a black gamer or something like that, it's almost like a validation that you're not a mistake. And I talked about this before also on a previous video where I was convinced I was a mistake. Everything that I was to be rejected. I was a mistake, you know? And I know that I'm not the only one that had to overcome that. So when you get out into the world, you announce yourself as a black geek or a black gamer or something like that. You know what I mean? Because you're looking for others to prove the ones wrong that told you that you shouldn't be into this. There's something wrong with you being into this. Now, a lot of us were into that, but even less of us were encouraged to create that. You know what I'm saying? So creation was definitely a no-go. Like I said, the comics that I was drawing and stuff, the little cartoon strips and stuff, ripped up, literally ripped up in pieces at my feet. Creativity was discouraged. So I think a lot of us have it backwards when we're talking about we didn't see ourselves and we were shut out. A lot of us were shut out before we even left the house. You know, I remember I did a interview with Super Sly, and he was asking me about my experiences growing up and when I realized that maybe I was going to have a hard time getting into geek spaces. And if you saw that that interview, which was a great interview, guys, maybe I'll leave the link to that. Shout out to Super Sly. I had a hard time answering that question because I was like, what I had to deal with outside was nothing compared to what I had to deal with in my own home. No white person ripped up my shit. You know what I'm saying? No white person ever told me what I couldn't do. If anything, by the time I got into the comic shops and shit like that, once they realized that I knew what I was talking about, you know, I'm looking for Fantastic Four by Byrne. You know, I'm looking for Teen Titans by Perez. You know, I'm looking for all of this stuff. They realize, oh, he's one of us. It's all good. You know what I mean? I never got the pushback from white people that I got from within my own home. I know for a fact that a lot of us have to go through that. So when you get out into the world, once again, you tend to look for others who also might have been shunned in their own home. You want to welcome them and say, hey, I'm just like you. I went through some of the same things that you went through, you know, and you have to do that before you can go out into the larger world, all right? So there's an extra step for us is what I'm trying to say. So to our white brothers and sisters that's out there who might be having a hard time understanding, why do they have to announce that they're black? Because there's an extra step that we have to take, all right? We were definitely discouraged, and in a lot of ways, we're behind at least a couple of generations when it comes to this. This is the reason why when Stan Lee was making his creations, you know, all of these classic comics and stuff like that, there were not a whole lot of black comic creators because people didn't encourage that type of creativity and that type of vision. I talked about that in some of my earliest videos. You know, so a lot of that has to do with that. It doesn't have a whole hell of a lot to do with rejecting the larger geek community. But first, you have to know where you came from. You have to know that there are others like you. Otherwise, you're going to be out there thinking, you know, maybe they were right. Maybe I am trying to be white. No, there are other black ones too. There are other black gamers. There are other black geeks. We're here. We're here. And it's just like I was saying with the whole Star Wars thing. You know, everybody concentrated on, you know, angry white guys. As a matter of fact, when I first started doing my videos, I did my commentary about The Last Jedi. And I remember there were a few people who came into the comment section, commenters who came in. And I'll never forget the one comment that I used to hear way too much was, you know, it's bad when a black guy is saying this. Really? Really? Okay, I've been a Star Wars fan my entire life. I am going to be opinionated about this, but for some reason, it was shocking to the whole world that a black person would have come on and said, yeah, I don't want the race swapping. I don't want the empty identity politics. I don't want the empty virtue signaling. That was shocking to people. But if you're a true fan, of course, you're going to feel that way. But this is the reason why, is what I'm saying. It's like, this is a natural part of growth, okay? So from that point, I do understand, right? And this is something that I'm seeing. Like I said, this is just my theory about why this is, because I really thought about this, right? And then there's another aspect of this that's even more sad. All right, I said I had two theories. Here's the other one real quick because the video is going to go long. You notice how we have to say black in front of something when we feel like it's a space that we don't belong in, right? But you realize those spaces that we think we don't belong in are spaces of creativity, spaces of prestige, spaces of inventiveness and innovation. In other words, you will never hear the word black put in front of black basketball player, black rapper, black criminal. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. These are stereotypes, and they're true stereotypes. All stereotypes are not wrong. They're true stereotypes. Of course, you can have black rappers. We see them. We're used to them. Black criminals. Unfortunately, we're used to them. Disproportionate, guys. All right. Black, what did I say? Black rappers, black basketball players. But we always have to say black doctor, black filmmaker, black scientist, black president. You know, you have to make that distinction when you think it's someplace where it's impressive that a black person would be, that it's not common that you would see a black person there. So you have to announce that it's a black this, it's a black writer. You know what I'm saying? A black cinematographer. And so articles get written about these types of things. That, oh, well, Chicago had its first black mayor, its first black congressman, its first black person on the COVID readiness team, you know, something like that, you know? And it's sad because, once again, it's pretty much announcing that people are not used to seeing that. So, in closing, I would say that we have to give this thing time, all right? For everyone who came in, and there were a lot of you who came into the comment section who were saying, and was everybody, it wasn't just, white guys. You know, everyone was wondering, why do you have to say black in front of everything? Now, guys, you might remember at the top of the video, I said that I got a lot of gamer girls who came into my comment section. I didn't say black purposefully because I just don't believe in that. But for anyone who was wondering, yes, I got a lot of gamer girls, a lot of gamers who are girls, who are black, who came in to comment. And a lot of them were saying, we never felt unsafe in this space. You know, a lot of them were speaking up. And that's the good news here. I think that you see a lot more black people beginning to say, and I'm saying black for the sake of understanding here, okay? Because you guys know, all right? A lot of black people are beginning to say, we want to be accepted on our own merits, not because of the color of our skin. We are here. We have been in this space, and we've always felt free to play games. We've always felt free to be a fan of Star Wars, of Star Trek. We don't need these people making big business out of some perceived insecurity. All of these consulting firms that are popping up all over the place, and there are a lot of them these days, a lot of them who are coming out to say, hey, we're here to solve your racism problem within your fandom, the toxicity in the fandom. We're going to make things right for you. More black gamers, more black geeks are beginning to speak up to say, we don't need that. The best we can do, those of us who have been in this fandom, is to give them their space to grow, to welcome them without attacking them because of some perceived alliance that they have with these grifters that's out here. This is an exciting time. You see more black people beginning to move a little bit to the center, to the right, away from the left, you know, away from being used and taken for granted by the Democrats. You're seeing that. The best you can do is understand the growth process. They can't be where you are right now. They can't even be where I am right now. But you have to give people time to grow. I needed time to grow. I said on a past video, being left is the default setting for the black community. You know what I mean? We've been lied to by the American Society of Magical Liberals, I said. The American Society of Magical Liberals. We've been lied to them forever. But more of us are starting to understand. This is the reason why you get the pushback for the Good Times reboot. You know, you see more and more people who are supporting voices like Candace Owens. It's an exciting time. It's a growth process. All right. So for the people who are asking the question, don't take it personally. Okay. This is something that has to happen for us to get to a better place. This is how we win, okay? That's my theory. Now, you guys can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this. If you disagree, I would like to hear from gamers, from gamer girls. You know, I like to hear from gamer boys. I like to hear from everybody. So once again, guys, I want to thank you for listening, and I thank you for your support. Everyone who's been donating to the channel through Cash App, through the super thanks, you guys have really been coming through for me, and I love you for that. I really do appreciate it. I am so tired of YouTube jerking me around. That's the reason why I've gotten more vocal with this. I'm tired of talking about these hot topics, and I know that I'm hitting, man. I know that I am, but then I'll see somebody else hit the same topic, and they'll have like 5 times as many views as me, and I'm just like, what the fuck, bro? You know what I mean? Like, honestly. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say about this. I know it's a long video, guys, but that's it. I had a lot on my mind. And I'll catch you in the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.